Hey, how am I on time? Ooh, 6:15 on the money. Well, I have no idea. Hey Google, stop alarm.
Sure. I'm stopping any alarms and timers that are ringing on your smart home devices.
Okay. Hello. Hello. Okay. Let's see. Are we changed over and happening? I wonder if I will ever get good at this. Okay, there's not much light on me. Which is pretty decent light on the artwork area. Yeah, chat is ready to display messages. Well, I don't believe anybody's here, but I have been known to be wrong about stuff on a pretty regular basis. Why? Ah! Nightbot worked! Oh, I'm excited. All right, hello. My name's Keith. Thoughtstorms is my brand, my artist identity, my handle on the webs. And this is my attempt to start streaming in earnest. I have a project in the works. A little hard to see on this angle. Let me get another. La la la. Yeah. I'm working on assembling a sculpture out of keycaps. Looks like it's stuck together with gum. It's not gum. It's 2-part epoxy clay. Specifically a brand I hadn't used before called oh, that's weird. Epoxy sculpt. Small tongue. And I never know where to look for my camera. Got a little piece of tape there and everything, but I'm going to look at the mic. I'm going to look at the wrong camera, the hand camera for my face. Anyway, if you decide to spend some time on my stream, you're going to find out that I am permanently a noob. And some people might not think 60 is terribly old, but yeah, I'm too old to understand this technology stuff very well. But I've been struggling to become a streamer for solidly 3 years now, and I've learned a few things and very much not learned some things. That's still being shot, doesn't matter. Boy, there is a noise to my left over here that is driving my ADD autism spectrum brain out of my mind. And I'm probably gonna have to turn on the fan. If anybody is here, please speak up in chat. Uh-oh. The screen may not, yeah it does. Okay, good. And let me know if you can hear me well enough. I see myself occasionally hitting, no, I'm not hitting the red. There is a knob on my, what do you call, microphone. I don't think it does anything. I think it's just there for, I turned it down so it's all the way turned up on there. Yeah, I'm getting into the orange. That hopefully will be okay. I don't plan to play any music except maybe some bespoke music that is specifically for this channel. One composed by a dear friend of mine, Andy J. Patterson. Take a bow. I'm not set up to air that at all. So I find that the streams I really like, especially for lurking, I like them not to have music so that I can have music playing quietly or not so quietly that I choose. Just tell my smart speaker to play whatever group I want to hear or say. So I mentioned making a sculpture out of these keycaps from Macintosh keyboards. I had a bunch of them a few moves ago, and they took up a lot of space, so I popped almost all the keycaps off. I recently found them, and this is how I am testing assembling things using the epoxy sculpt. I used to use Aves brand, or Aves, I don't know how to pronounce it, epoxy sculpt with an A at the beginning. I liked it a lot. It didn't set up as fast. This sets up really fast, which is good in some ways and not so great in the other. I did some of these bubblegum looking join ups a few hours ago, and I think they're solid enough I can work with them. You might see that the surface of those keycaps are kind of pushed into the inside of this copper mixing bowl, so that they will be roughly spherical, and I'm going to try to make two hemispheres of the keys. The idea is for it to look like kind of a Death Star that's only made out of greeblies, and then I'm going to put it into the to the cage, the stand of a globe. This is really just a test, a concept. Plastic is shiny and slippery, and paint doesn't like to stick to it, neither does glue. And you can sand it, or you can run like a cigarette lighter type flame over it real fast, and supposedly that fixes things. I'll try the cigarette thing if I have to, but I'm gonna have to do it to so many of these keys that I am hoping I won't have to do it at all. I'm hoping I can keep assembling these clusters to each other, packing the bubble gum into the back, trying to hold these where the camera can see it for a change. If the camera better spaced, I think I've got the lighting better too. The copper bowl isn't blinding the camera so badly. So that's that. I watch all kinds of makers on YouTube. It's 90% of my video viewing of any kind. I don't watch other TV shows or movies hardly ever. And a lot of people who pour resin, they know they'll have some resin left over in various colors, and so they have something ready to pour it into. There's my camera again. And they end up with several different layers of color, and sometimes they'll tilt them and stuff, and I like that. And some of them will put that on a lathe. I'm not a lathe guy. I don't really have much in the way of power tools at present. And I'm just working in my tiny crapartment. So I couldn't have a lathe in here anyway. Anyway, this stuff sets up so fast that I took this inexpensive, cheapo plastic mask. It's really difficult to figure out how to do this. And with the leftover bubble gum, epoxy sculpt, I am going to decorate this. I'm going to have it just be basically covered with that, and then I will seal it. I didn't sand or heat this as well. It seems to be sticking pretty well. Epoxy is some strong stuff, and so I'm hoping I won't have to mess with that. Because I'm old, tired, and lazy. I have acquired a taste for sleeping. I sleep a lot. And I infamously have said, I've been awake and I've been asleep. And brother, asleep is better. But I do want to be awake and do some things. And that's one of the reasons that I am becoming a streamer. I don't expect to garner much of an audience. I'd love to be wrong about that. I've got several subscriptions and things, and I'm not. Hopefully this will be a good video on demand. So let me say right here, I don't ask anyone to pay for a subscription on Twitch. More than half of that goes to Jeffrey Bezos's penis rocket. And as much as I like Amazon Pharmacy, I like them a lot. Yeah, I'm not so good with your hard-earned money going, so much of it going to him. Subscribing on YouTube is greatly encouraged. Please subscribe on YouTube and follow on Twitch. None of those cost anything. If you are an Amazon Prime customer, you can log into Twitch. Even if you're more of a YouTube watcher, this is a way you can help me and Bezos, but it doesn't cost you anything if you're not already using your Amazon Prime membership for one monthly paid subscription to a Twitch streamer. You could use it on me, and that's great. But only do it for that. Honestly, I have set up a Patreon. I don't have a link set up like I should. I'm pretty sure it's patreon.com/thoughtstorms, just like my Twitch and my YouTube handle. And there are several levels, including ridiculously high levels. I did that partly out of amusement and partly, by the way, amusement is a word I coined a long time ago. Partly because, hey, there may be somebody out there who's wealthy and says, man, if this guy could afford to pay a mod or somebody to help him with his technology, he might amount to something, and so I'm going to help him out. So at whatever level you want to give, if you would like to give, the best way is Patreon. Of course, that's a monthly thing. If you want to make it a one-time thing, I haven't set up a coffee account yet. Coffee, however you say that. I haven't done that one yet. You can reach me at any time, and this should be somewhere on the chat, but it's not. Judge Keith, JUDGEKEITH @gmail.com is how to reach me, the streamer. And you can say, hey, I'd like to send you a couple of bucks just once. I'll have this worked out by the next time I stream, I think. I am both chewing gum and drinking from my newly unearthed water goblet because the medicines I take, which are legion, I take so many medicines, you guys. I'm 60 years old. I take the medicines of an 89-year-old. And I think he wants them back. Or she. Could be a she or they. Ooh, I shouldn't hit the table. That's probably really loud. Hopefully it's not really loud in the mic when I do that. Yeah, my medicines give me cotton mouth. And I can't speak well at all when the cotton mouth is happening, so pardon my gum. It's not terribly hot in here, so I don't have the fan going. The AC is blowing, but I don't think you're going to hear that on. I think I've got a good enough mic that we're probably all right on that. So I am going to mix up some clay here pretty soon. One more thing. Talking about my plans here. Yeah, the clay was, oh man, this white on this white table isn't showing up worth a darn. It's not important. I made a textured roller so I could roll texture onto clay. A couple of eyeballs, 3 eyeballs, and a tetrahedron. That's going to be a way to test sanding. My understanding is that this version of Epoxy Sculpt is not great for sanding. That's not one of its strengths. But one thing I've been wanting to do for many years now, and I attempted something, good Lord, it's before I moved over to these apartments. I can't think of the year, but it's been more than 8 years. I don't think it's been 10. Say about 9 years. Anyway, I want to take something that becomes incredibly hard, and I mean it's lightweight for how rigid it is. This you can see by comparison to my finger. I probably could snap this if I really tried hard. So I think that's great. But what I wanted to do is make geometric shapes or other sculptural shapes. For example, this 4-sided die tetrahedron out of a combination of this stuff, which is a 2-part thing. I would mix it together and have it ready to set up. And then I will mix it with another kind of clay that I can then dissolve and wash out. So we will have a shape that is made out of rigid epoxy putty, clay, sculpt. So many words. But also made out of negative space. I've stopped using it as one of my authentication questions, so I can tell you my answer to what my favorite color is. My favorite color is negative space. And if you didn't take a lot of art classes, you might not know what I mean by that. Well, if my hand here was a sculpture, the space between my fingers, that's negative space. That's negative space. Where the material is not, on a say a watercolor painting on white paper, the white areas that didn't get any paint on them, that's considered negative space. And it's kind of like the rests in music. It's kind of like the editing that a good writer or a good editor will do. So I want to sculpt with negative space. I'm telling you everything I know. I'm going to be a little bit less loquacious when I start sculpting. I don't see any chat going. Pardon me 1 second while I type something in here. Why can't I type anything? Oh, there it is. Haha. It won't let me type in my own channel. Why not? Alright, what about in Twitch? Nope, that's a bug. Oh! And just basically eventually cover this plastic mask. Okay, that's... Well, okay, I can go to chat. Sorry, talk amongst yourselves. I'm just testing to see if chat is working, because if not, there might be people here and I don't know it. I have a Nightbot, and I've typed in a bunch of phrases that I can trigger. Yep, I see it. Ooh, boy, that's tiny on my screen. It is really small on the screen. So far it hasn't come on as Nightbot yet, but the first one I did. So I'm going to get the mask out of the way. I won't need it till I get to the end of some bubble gum. Apparently I'm going to call this stuff bubble gum. Gumstone. I don't know. Oh goodness. I feel like I could have more light on the subject. Okay, the chat bot, the Nightbot didn't speak up, but it did earlier. We'll see. Stop streaming. I am streaming. I've been streaming for 23 minutes and I haven't even mixed up any clay yet. So I've got a bunch of clusters. And I wish I could zoom in. I don't think there's any way to zoom with this camera. I got this camera real cheap at a thrift store because it had a cool gooseneck. So I've got these clusters that I'm going to clump together, and I've got to do so and let them firm up inside here to keep the outside of what I'm making. Oh heavens. I wonder if that's what's making the noise. I have a cordless phone charger right here with a magnetic cable on it. I think that might be what's causing the noise that I would love to never hear again. So I've unplugged it. Maybe it will settle back down. There's the biggest cluster I have so far. I don't know if you can tell that it's starting to have spherical top, and there's terrible gicky stuff between. Once I get the structure right, I'm gonna pack in some more of the gumstone, bubblegum stuff, or whatever other clay I deem fit to clean it up and make it look cooler. Yeah, so I popped off these keycaps and saved them, Lord, at least 12 years ago. I've been planning to do something similar to this for a long time. originally I wanted them turned all every which way, not just with their fingertip area outwards. But for this construction, especially with the kind of trying to clamp it on the inside, the concave, kind of pinch the things together. Yeah, still no chat bot. But I think this globe will look pretty cool this way. And my next proof of concept may be a much smaller one, and I will have them going every which way. So hopefully at some point people will realize I'm streaming and come on and chat, because hopefully I can answer questions or just field conversation. I'm trying to reach back out to the world. I've been a functioning agoraphobic. I shouldn't be so fast and loose with my terminology, because there are real agoraphobics who have it so much worse than I, and that's almost like the high functioning autism. They don't use that term anymore. Even Asperger's got pretty well discontinued. I'm also a little bit that way with Tourette's. I do not have Tourette's. I am not OCD. I'm not making any kind of pretenses to those things. I am on the autism spectrum without a doubt, and I am attention deficit disorder, chronic depression, so many mental illnesses, dyscalculia. Fortunately, I have no dyslexia, but numbers. So warning, this is an 18 and over stream. Now, you're welcome to watch if you're less than 18. I'm not going to police it. But don't get your feelings hurt if I say horrible, horrible words. Because something is going to happen that will frustrate me, or I will have a sudden pain, which those happen a lot, for 300 reasons, mostly to do with the fact that I've not taken good care of myself for 60 years. I'm taking better care of myself now than I have basically ever before, but still leaves a lot to be desired. La la. La la la. So yeah, I may curse, and I'm eccentric, and so if I do curse, it may be something really, like, really offensive, because I think cursing should be offensive. And the F word, the F-bomb, the word that the wonderful TV show Deadwood was Shakespeare with, I just don't think that should be a swear word. So I generally replace the F-bomb with the R word. Not that R word. The R-A-P-E word, because to me the only reason you would make fuck a swear word, a profanity, is with the understood disclaimer that it's involuntarily sex act, which there's a 4-letter word, and I don't know. So sometimes I will use a triggery word, and trigger warnings may abound. I don't want to hurt anybody's feelings. I want people to tell me if I've hurt their feelings by chat, by email, something. Here's my mantra that I want everybody to think about and hopefully embrace. I got it from a writer I don't think I would respect anything else he's written or said. But I like this mantra. Try hard not to offend. Try even harder not to be offended. I lean pretty liberal. I'm not going to be political on my stream, with one exception. Ranked choice voting. Please look it up. Watch a good video about it. Pick your poison. My most conservative friends and my most liberal friends and my most moderates all agree that if we could get ranked choice voting, the universe would get so much better so quickly. It's not a magic bullet. It's a very special pellet, or a pellet gun. Okay, I am going to turn the fan on. Somebody holler at me, live or otherwise, if it becomes difficult to understand me. I got quiet to look at the I forget what you call that, the audio mixer. I don't think, it's a louder room tone. So, this stuff, let me tell you a theory I have. I've got a sibling of the male persuasion, codenamed Peter. I'm looking at the wrong camera again, because I'm holding this up. Who just loves it when I have a theory, because my whole life I've had theories. Theories are all that science is. 2 + 2 is 4 is a really well supported theory. Really well. And it got us to the moon. It may get us there again. So my theory on this stuff, various formations, the two part that's equal parts, I think they just take one of the many formulations of epoxy resin, glue, and they mix part A with a powder, and they mix part B with a powder, probably the same powder, and probably about the same amounts, so that when you take a little out of A and a little out of B and you mix them all together, they start kicking. They start turning into really strong resin that you can make a hammer that will hammer nails out of this stuff. It's not as heavy as metal, so it might have to be, Thor hammer looking, but anyway, I'm pretty sure it's just part A with, in this case, a white powder. So probably cocaine. I keep looking at my monitor over here that has my stream as it's going out, which is greatly behind me, so you'll notice that weirdness. So white powder in there, cocaine, like you do. Okay, probably not cocaine. This one's just a little bit grayer. Lighting is kind of odd. And I think we just figured out that you can do this because, for one thing, there's a brand of this that you can just get from people that they just mix kind of at their house. I think they've now got a little storefront, but they started making stuff just at their house. Now this stuff, I will warn you, oh shoot. Please hold this thought. I will leave things as they are and get my rubbing alcohol IPA, because I read that it can soften it, make it take longer to set up, and I need Hello, boys and girls, and creatures of all persuasions. To get in and out of the wheelchair very carefully, because I have about 5 pillows stacked up because my butt is bony and my body is heavy. I need something to put the alcohol in. I guess I might as well. Okay, I've got these pie pans. Might help you see the clusters better. So, I'm going to dish out a small amount. The first time I tried this stuff, I got a golf ball size of A and a golf ball size of B, and Lord, it started turning into a piece of marble hardness way too fast. That's one of the reasons I made some eyeballs or things to mess with carving, sanding. So this time I'm just doing about the size of a toy marble of each. What did we call the largest of the toy marbles? A boulder. Together they make about a boulder. I am dishing this out with wooden sticks that came with it. I marked them A and B. They didn't mark their stuff at all. They don't look identical, and they're in 2 separate pots, but best practice is to know what is A and what is B. If I were to dip this B into the A, it might make some of it kick, maybe quite a bit more than I would want. Really, any is more than I would want. So, and I am using rubber gloves. When I did the epoxy sculpt, the Avis product, APOXIE sculpt, I think that's right. I didn't use gloves, and it didn't bother me any. Reviews I read about this said it has a strong smell. I'm a super smeller, super taster, and I don't really have any problem with the smell, at least so far. I'm just mixing the 2 parts. I guess you can maybe see the kind of zebra stripes there. There's light, there's white, and there's pretty light gray. Just fold and roll and fold and roll and fold and roll and roll and fold. I don't think this is going to be too ASMR. The less we talk about ASMR, the better. I'm kidding, we can talk about anything you want to talk about. We are the music makers, and we are the dreamers of the dreams. I think, okay, this is pretty sticky, which is good. I want it sticky. I'm gonna put a little bit of IPA. I guess that's also a word for a beer. I'm not a drinker. I'm 60 years old, 60 years sober. Never been drunk. More on that another time, or not. That cotton mouth. See, this way I can get a little bit of the IPA on the wooden knife that I'm kind of packing into the things with. Boy, I There's no grammar to be had there. You see how these kind of... I need to change my monitors around. I have to turn my head quite a ways to see in real time. But right there is at least 10, maybe 15 seconds into the future. The distant future, the year 2000. Cat, we just talked to the humans. So, once again, please sound off if you're here live. I tried to let people know a little in advance. Friday evenings are not, I don't plan to let those to be a regular time for streaming at all. I'm usually busy on Friday nights, but this week my mother and I played cards on a different night. We play cards just about every week, once a week, and we've actually invented a card game that's pretty slamming. Everyone say hi to Babs. That's my mother's nickname. Okay. This is going to be challenging. So far I've only stuck one keycap to another and put it in there so that it would freeze in the right configuration. And then I put two clusters of two together. Let's see, can you even see? Man, I need a zoom lens on this camera, or I've got other cameras. I have to work on my camera setup. But I'm taking it just a little bit, and I'm putting some in the, what do you call it, the convex inner part of the keycap, and then letting it go over and clamp into the inner recesses of the neighboring thing to sort of pinch them together. Pinch. I'm dressing your head, dress. So that I have a mechanical adhesion, if not chemical adhesion. And I will throw around science words and very possibly not get them right. I am not a scientist and I don't play one on TV. I am interested in science. Not really the same thing. Okay. I don't know how much of this is visible because I need to look where I'm looking. That went better than I expected. I'm putting it now into the thing, and now I'm going to push against all these keycaps so that they are flush against the interior of this spherical pan. And that's the idea. I need to work. Well, I need to try softening a bit of this with the IPA. I put it straight in there. Oh yeah, that's got it much softer. I would think it'd be pretty. It might even be stickier that way too. That's good. All right. Let's get a couple more clusters together. I am paying zero attention to what letter or number or command is printed on top of the keycap. I want them as random as possible, and there's more than one keyboard here, so There may be multiples or something. Alright. Yeah, this is not the best dispenser. I need a deeper receptacle. Receptacle? That's right. It's very loose. In fact, this one's the loosest yet because I softened it with some IPA. I don't know if many people in the U.S. say IPA. I never did. But I watch a lot of Australian and New Zealand and UK makers, and that seems to be what they tend to call it. White spirits? Not sure if white... Hey Google, define white spirits.
According to Wikipedia, white spirit or mineral spirits, also known as mineral turpentine, turpentine substitute, and petroleum spirits, is a petroleum-derived clear liquid used as a common organic solvent in painting. There are also terms for specific kinds of white spirit, including Stoddard solvent and solvent naphtha.
Alright, I don't have very many more clusters. I'm going to make more clusters. So it's turpentine substitute, which makes me think of a very lovely song. Turpentine erase me whole, 'cause I don't want to live my life alone. I've been waiting for you all. Oh, I guess I haven't warmed up my vocals. Okay. I'm trying not to put keys together in ways like they are on a keyboard. Speaking of keyboards, even though my eyesight has gotten so much better since I got my cataracts out, look at this keyboard. Oh, I can barely see it. I can barely reach it. I didn't need glasses even when I needed glasses for that. It was so nice. Or light. And it's not backlit. It doesn't need to be. Brilliant. It's one of those things I want somebody to explain to me why they're not all that way. Because access and inclusion is not important. Oh, I've been guilty of it. I was a graphic designer and I don't know, I think even back then I was sensitive to the fact that not everybody's got 20/5 eyesight like I did back then. Anyway, if you're in one of those fields, please think about people with different perception challenges, the blind, the low vision. I'm not sure how you're supposed to say that, but the deaf and hard of hearing. I've got some freezer paper here that won't stick as badly. I need to get some keycaps out. Hold me closer, turpentine dancer, slap silly. Excellent. Welcome to the stream, Slap Silly. I know that name. Are you on Twitch or YouTube because I'm on both of them. Hold me closer, turpentine dancer. Count the headlights on my head bone. I know. That song gets made fun of so much. Tony Danza and all that. Beautiful song. Alright, I'm giving keycaps out. Twitch. Oh, a visitor, not a maker. Well, that's cool. I bet there is a Twitch streamer that I frequent that you do too. Do you remember how you heard of me? Just curious. You don't have to share it. And what part of the world are you in? Roughly. Don't dox yourself. Although I do want, you know, street address. Okay. Keycaps together. Keycaps. Well, Slap Silly, I wish I had known many years back that anybody was streaming as an artist. I might have gotten into it sooner. Whoever rated you October 15th. Okay. So, Slapped, are you a streamer or a lurker? You know, do you stream yourself or do you just partake in other streams or both? That's fine. I completely understand that. I have subscribed to so many people. In fact, on YouTube, it's a problem because I got you, lurker. Excellent. Oh, how interesting. My monitor that has, I should probably turn my laptop so I'm on camera a little bit more. Caleb, my man. All right. Great, excellent friend of mine, IRL. I actually sent out a warning that I was going to be streaming. Caleb, I'm trying to make a mixed media sculpture with Macintosh keyboard keycaps stuck together with epoxy sculpt clay. The kind I'm using is pretty fast bonding, which is sort of good. Yeah. So what I was saying was over here, where my hands are now sort of pointing, I've got a monitor. Oh, come on, it just died on me. Your browser encountered an area while decoding the video. Great. Okay, so I have to turn my head way over here to see OBS, but the chat was ahead over there. Also, the font over there is so small, I will have to put my glasses on to read it. That's horrible. Looks cool, man. Milliput or something similar. Very similar to Milliput. I haven't tried Milliput yet. Or green stuff. I really like the Avis brand. But I can't find it. I've got copious amounts of the stuff and I can't bloody find it in my apartment. I really need to fix that because I actually have people in here chatting and I can't work with my glasses and I have to read over there. How about if I refresh? Yeah, reload. hold this thought, please. I'm making a screen where I can see what's happening. All right, there we go. Maki Horror. Oh, of course. I love Maki Horror. They have not gone live in a long minute. Yeah, Liz and Danny and I worked together in improv in Dallas for a time, and may again at some point. And yeah, they are the best. They are the best. I'm blanking on the third guy's name. I've only met him in person once at one of the mocks. Caleb Maki Horror Picture Show is a comedy group in Dallas. They riff on bad movies live on Twitch and live. Live in movie theaters, and they're just the best. It's like Mystery Science Theater 3000. Albie, yep. Albie, like I said, I don't really know him IRL to speak of, but he got one of the best jokes. There was this movie where for some reason they kept talking about buttermilk, and I don't remember exactly how it came up, but there's that terrible old joke, butterface. It's like an insult to a misogynist insult, really. Oh, she's kind of great, except her face isn't great, so we call her Butterface. Ha ha ha. Well, he riffed off of that and said, you know, I like everything about her, buttermilk. Hey, okay, that doesn't retell as well as I'd hoped, but yeah, he's earned a home in my comedy friends. I'm having difficulty here, and it's not happening on screen, is it? I need to tilt the camera more. The fact that I'm not doing this, I'm intentionally not doing it efficiently where flat is against flat, is of course making things more challenging. I like doing that to myself as an artist. Now that I've got these loosely bound, I put them into the interior of the copper mixing bowl so that the outside will conform to a spherical shape once it's set up. And so far this has been working pretty well. This is proof of concept. I haven't really done anything like this before. Sounds like a good time. What are your favorite comedy clubs in the Metroplex? I don't really go to comedy clubs. Unfortunately, the place one of the places I really want to recommend in the Metroplex has moved, and they're further north. Caleb and I don't live terribly far apart from each other, but it's quite a ways north. I don't think they're in McKinney. Anyway, Pocket Sandwich Theater was the venue, and it's alternative comedy theater, and they are improv comedy. I am about improv comedy. I love good stand-up, but I have zero desire to ever perform stand-up. Stand-up gets the drunks, and stand-up audiences want you to fail. I respect stand-ups like nobody business, because that's no. I may one day do solo improv, and to some extent that's kind of what I'm trying to do here, but no, stand-up. Oh, so yeah, alternative comedy theater. Improv ACT.org. I hope that's correct. Alternative Comedy Theater Dallas. You Google that. They are the best. They teach classes. They are. If I was still capable of treading the boards with any chance of surviving physically, I would love to work with them again. And they're back at Pocket Sandwich Theater, although Pocket Sandwich Theater moved from central Dallas to up north. Yes, stand-up comedy seems like you need some real confidence, man. I don't know if I could ever do that. Sounds cool. I like improv, so I'll check it out, man. And there's another place I've only been to a couple times. It's fairly, what I consider kind of central Dallas. Stomping Ground's the main part of their name. Stomping Ground Theater. And they do some sketch and some improv and Lord, what we're just talking about. Stand up. And they do a wonderful outreach thing. They'll teach classes for free to people who are on the who have various mental illnesses or work with people who have various mental illnesses, and I think that's genius. I think that's genius. People with Alzheimer's, for example. I haven't had to deal with that in real life, but it's easy for me to imagine that if you work every day with someone with Alzheimer's, you're going to start the same conversation many times, and they don't realize it's happening and they can't do anything about it. And to me, that sounds like a great concept for an improv game. Start the same scene with the same lines 10 times and then take it a different place each time, so it's fresh for you. It doesn't feel people who don't remember that they've had the conversation before must be able to pick up on, like, why are they rolling their eyes or acting like, oh, this again? And if it's more new to you, that might not happen. Check it out, man. Anyway, that's just when I heard about Stomping Ground comedy, I thought, Lord, that's a genius idea. And I've only seen one show there, and it was great. It was so good. So I recommend them. There's also Dallas Comedy House. I performed there several times back when I was doing the stuff. I like them a lot. They are very good at monetizing what they do and making that money, and I'm okay with that. I really am. I've never been able to make money as an artist. So people who are able to make money with their art, mad respect. But it is expensive to take their classes. So I never did. And also, they have prerequisites. I wanted to take, I was going to come up with the money for sketch class, because I've never done sketch, but I want to. Okay, I am putting the 3, and dang it, slipped on me here. Real mad respect. It's hard to be creative nowadays. Yeah, in a lot of ways. I tell you, if unlike me, you're able to master the technology and go online and stream or be a YouTube video creator, it's kind of an amazing time for things like that, and I am dipping my toe. Have been trying to dip my toe many years. Slight change of topic. While I've got Caleb here, Caleb, I don't think you'll mind me mentioning that you worked in creating stuff on virtual reality. Some people do virtual reality on Twitch, and I want to do that. And I have a Oculus, I don't know, the first generation thing. Oh, that's right. I showed it to you once, but I've never been able to make it do what I want it to do. I want to 3D sculpt. I used to make 3D sculpture in animation programs, and loved it and was kind of good at it. I wasn't good at the animating side of it, but I could make the puppet and I could paint the puppet. Anyway, since watching, what do you call it? Next Generation, Star Trek, I wanted to make artwork on in a holodeck, basically. That's basically what this thing is, and stuff can just float. You know, it can be lighter than air, or it can move and do all these cool things. So I really want to learn some stuff of that. To link it to the computer somehow and stream the capture from the computer. A bit of a setup. The thing is, I paid for the sculpting program, but you had to have a Windows 10 computer, and at the time I didn't have a Windows 10 computer. And then I bought a tablet that said it was Windows 10, because what the hell, why not lie? And that didn't work. And then I got hand-me-down a Windows 10 computer. Never was able to make that work either. So the two things I wanted to do, I want to sculpt in VR, and I want to fly around in Google Earth and see the world that way. Haven't been able to make either one work. I did get to see some Google Earth. I'm having difficulty concentrating while I'm talking, because I'm still kind of new at this. So I'm going to do something that's a little more freeform, a little less frustrating, and I need to use up the stuff I've mixed. So that's what this mask is for. Oops. Stuff sticks to itself better than duct tape sticks to itself. La la la. And this is kind of my MO. I test materials and tools and things. VR is a great time. I am the opposite of King Midas when it comes to technology. Everything I touch turns to manure. Oh, I'm watching my language. Can you believe it? I dropped the F-bomb earlier. When nobody was in chat yet. Or that I know of. And there could be people working. That's another cool thing about streaming. I initially wanted to start streaming because I just wanted, not exactly an excuse, but a reason to get the heck out of bed and grab a hammer and a nail. Well, a rubber glove and a bucket of clay. And I like performing. I like improvising. I talk to myself constantly. I would be saying basically all of this stuff into the apartment air if nobody was here watching. So I thought, my eccentricities and skills might just I'm having to stream up while I program. It's nice to have a bit of a distraction sometimes. And something else to focus on when I'm stuck on stuff. I feel, yeah, man. I haven't been. That was a really small snake, but I guess it looks all right. I haven't been watching other streams as much. Dude, yeah, you're a great streamer. Stream stick out. Well, I appreciate it. Hale, you're a good guy. I tell you what, one of the topics that I would like to turn my attention to is poetry. And I happen to know a person not too far from me who has written some amazing poetry, so I may have to ask you if you'd be comfortable, I don't know, teaming up for the cause of good at some point. Just a thought. I watch a lot of reaction YouTubers because it's cool to watch a movie that you love as though you're seeing it for the first time, and that's kind of what they bring to the equation. But I've seen most of the movies I want to see. And I don't know. I don't just have the temperament that the best ones of those do. And some people do music, but it's usually like a classical musician does rock, things that they haven't been exposed to. Okay, I can't read the most recent chat. Yeah, I can. Of course, man. I'm going to practice. Right skills, but I'm down the clown. Yeah, just to, I'm going to read some of my old poems. I haven't written a new poem, and I have zero idea how long it's been. It's been for bleeding ever. I'm getting to the end of my pre-mixed stuff. It's easy to mix more. Yeah, I've got to be inspired to write poetry. But what I was thinking was I would like to maybe react to poetry, maybe read other people's poems and stop sort of the way that reaction YouTubers do and talk about what that means to me and how I think that's a really cool way of putting that, and that's a thought for possible stuff. I also want to do comedy, and there's I used to be an actor, I used to be a singer, and I still can kind of do a little bit of that, and so Vanity Fair YouTube channel does a thing called Song Association. Also, spoken word poetry videos. Yes. Oh man, I don't think it's still happening, but I used to love on the home box office Def Poetry Jam. Yeah. I performed live poetry a little bit in Abilene and a little bit at the Mensa annual gathering in Dallas. That's the only two places I've done that, really. I don't have any of my poems memorized, but I may read them out loud. But what I was saying, Vanity Fair does a thing, Song Association. So like word association, you're at the psychiatrist and they say water and you say river, well, song association, they'll say a word and you have to sing a song, or I would also include a poem if you had it memorized, that contains that word. And I might kind of play that game on my Button Poetry on YouTube. I will check that out. Performed live poetry a couple times during college. Yeah, I know. I saw one video of it, and people, trust me, the man can write and perform it. You've seen which? Oh, Deaf Poetry Jam. Yes. Yeah, there was some amazing stuff on that. I'd be amazed if it's still going, but I'd love it if it was. I don't know if there's stuff for me to catch up on. It's evergreen. It's like good music. You know, a good song from the 70s is as good today as it was in the 70s, and same way with poetry. Song Association 2. Oh, yeah. I just saw I haven't learned her name yet. She played Maria in Spielberg's production of West Side Story, which I just recently watched. I'm looking over. It's funny that I even have a camera pointed at me that I've been ignoring the whole time. Hi. I even set up a neat pentagon shape. I'm in a pentagon box. I'm going to call it a day for the sculpting side of things. How long have I been going? About an hour and 18 minutes. I'm not planning to stop altogether. I'm just going to let my hands breathe and drink some water. Hydrate. It's the thought that counts. You know, I came up with thought storms, well, 1998 or 99. I'd planned to make my own improv theater, and I was going to call it Brainstorm Theater, which is not very original, and so a million people had used it. And I couldn't get the .com, of course. And that's when I came up with Thought Storms a long time ago. I was on somebody's stream, no idea who or what, but the person one of the people in chat was in the UK, and they said that it is considered pretty bad to use the phrase brainstorm. Let's brainstorm about this. And I have always seen brainstorm as a very, very positive thing. And what they were able to eventually explain to me was people who have seizures describe their seizures as brainstorms. Now, I get that completely. I don't have seizures at all. I sometimes have brainstorms that remind me of what I imagine a very mild seizure might be. Sometimes it really will grip me and I can't think of anything else. Once again, I'm not pretending to have a condition I don't. But one of the poems I'm most proud of was actually titled Atmospherics of a Brainstorm. I got to put some kind of big circle around my face camera. Atmospherics of a Brainstorm. I'll try to find it. I could memorize it, but I haven't. And I love brainstorming. I wish I could get a job brainstorming, because I've noticed about myself I'm great on the breakthrough, terrible on the follow through. The one corporate job I had, I was the guy at the meeting that would make funny comments. I was in the marketing department, and I'd make funny comments, and sometimes they're like, "Could you be a little more serious?" And then they would put my funny comment on a poster. I'm not even kidding about that. So yeah, I love brainstorming. And so I just want to say Thought storms means I mean no harm to anyone. If you have seizures and if it's triggering to you, I deeply apologize. I am married to it, stuck with it. I've been using it for 26 or 7 years, and I did have the .com for a long time. I didn't do anything with it, and somebody poached it. I need to see if I'm the MacGyver. Oh, okay, cool. Nightbot threw in one of my random quotes. I'm the MacGyver of never remembering to bring tools and materials. I kill me sometimes. That's an interesting perspective. I have no clue that's what they call seizures. Well, I don't think it's anywhere near official, and it seems to be kind of specific to the UK. I don't know. Maybe it's that way all over the place. And interestingly, too, the only one person I knew who had really bad seizures, he liked them so much he deliberately didn't take his medicine and deliberately ran himself ragged and kind of deliberately gave himself seizures. And complex reasoning as to why he may have done that. We got along for a long time until we really, really, really didn't. Nothing to do with his seizures, but he worked at that corporate gig. But what that told me is, at least for some people, there are pleasant sides to the seizures. Maybe it's mostly bad, but it's partly terrible. Mostly bad, partly terrible. Mostly bad, partly kind of good. Back in junior high, I got migraines, and they suck. And anybody out there with migraines, Lord bless you and keep you, and infinity keep you. But there were parts of it that I kind of liked. For one thing, I would get the tunnel vision before any pain. And the tunnel vision was kind of cool looking. It was kind of trippy. I've never done any kind of psychedelic or anything, but it was kind of a cool, trippy thing. The only thing was the dread of knowing, okay, this is going to really hurt. Fortunately, I kind of accidentally cured myself. I hate to say that. Somebody's going to think I'm selling snake oil or something. I was in junior high. I was a latchkey kid. And I was going to have my first date to see a movie. And I felt I'm sure the stress of everything was a big factor in triggering them. So I was starting to have a migraine, and I was supposed to take half of a Valium. Now the other medicine I took 2 pills, but the Valium I'm supposed to break in half when I need it. So I took 2 Valiums, 4 times what I was supposed to take, and I had a bad trip. People say you don't trip on Valium. I did. I didn't like it at all. And my mother took us to the movie. It was roller coaster and Sense-Around. Sense-Around was just market speak for incredibly loud speakers. And Terry, my date, could tell I was not having a great time. So we were like, can we just step out for a minute and let's go to the other theater. So we changed over to Bad News Bears and Breaking Training, and it was much more pleasant. But after that night, I never had another migraine. In fact, I've gone through my life with fewer migraines per period of time than anybody I know. Sell that snake oil. It's the internet, baby. Well, I'm not recommending that you take 4 times the dose you're supposed to take for your deal. Yeah, the only other thing you know what? Well, I guess I could change. This way at least you can see some of my artworks go by. Oh, so I lived in Abilene, Texas, and I had a 10-speed bike, and I used to like to ride it a lot. And I rode, at one point, I came to across town and didn't remember a bit of it. I basically bicycled in a blackout, and I went through 3 busy intersection lights that I hope I didn't hurt anybody. I hope nobody hurt anybody because of me absent-mindedly going through. I was fine. In fact, I was still, I was pedaling and going forward when I came to. I think you said something again. I love you, man. I gotta drop. But I love the streams, bro. Can't wait for the next one. I'm about to wrap this one up, and it was great to see you. Happy recent birthday, and drop by anytime. I'll try to let you know in advance. And really, this is the first time I've had a chance to interact with chat with you and Slap Silly. Yeah, thank you. Let's hang some. Hang soon, man. I like it. All right, I'm gonna work out my monitors here so that I can do this all better. But I feel pretty good. I got a little bit of artwork done. Talked to some nice people, and I'm gonna wrap this up. So, in the words of the great Groucho Marx, ladies and gentlemen, take my advice. Pull down your pants and slide on the ice. Take care, everybody, and I'll try to let people know when I'm going to be on again.